The Galactic Council chamber was quiet, but the tension was thick enough to feel like a storm trapped inside a crystal dome. Representatives of hundreds of species sat in their assigned positions, each body, tentacle, or floating form marked by color and rank. They had convened to discuss the greatest mystery the galaxy had ever known, the dark sector at the far edge of the Milky Way. Every star, every planet, every wormhole had been catalogued except for that empty stretch. "Admiral Kryn," boomed a deep voice from a crystalline speaker. "Your team claims to have encountered a world beyond the charts. A world that should not exist. Speak." The Krynian admiral, a tall insectoid creature with 6 limbs and eyes that glimmered like liquid mercury, stepped forward. "Council members, our vessel crossed the uncharted coordinates. We expected a void, a barren system. Instead," he paused, clicking his mandibles nervously, "we found life. Life like nothing in the Atlas. It is human." A murmur swept through the chamber. Some species leaned forward. Others retracted slightly, their senses bristling. Humans. They had only heard of them in rumors. Primitive beings on a tiny, unremarkable planet. The last human signals had been weak and fragmented, barely enough to note on the far edges of their sensors. And yet here they were, producing measurable energy fields affecting technology, even resisting the scans of the Krynian vessel. "They are primitive," Kryn continued. "Yet their planet emits a low-level energy signature. It interferes with our instruments, our propulsion systems. Their minds, if I can describe them in human terms, operate unpredictably. They solve problems we cannot foresee." A council member from the Valari species, a floating organism of light and shadow, pulsed angrily. "Unpredictable? You mean dangerous. Tell me, Admiral, how do you classify danger that comes from creatures still using fire and simple machines?" Kryn's antenna twitched. "Not through firepower. Their threat is adaptability. Each encounter seems to teach them faster than our AI can analyze. I cannot explain it. I have never seen this in any species catalogued in the Atlas." For a moment, the chamber was silent. Then from a high seat, a voice cut sharply through the air. "Are you suggesting humans may surpass us?" It was the Threxian delegate, their scales shimmering in anger. "Do you dare bring such nonsense to the council?" Kryn did not flinch. "I am reporting facts. I am asking the council to consider observation before intervention. They are evolving in a sense we cannot measure." The debate went on for hours, stretching across dimensions and languages. Some council members wanted to send fleets to wipe the humans out. Others argued for containment, quarantining the sector to prevent contamination of the galaxy's known regions. But all agreed on one point. Earth, the home of humans, was now the most mysterious planet in the galaxy. Meanwhile, on Earth, humans lived unaware of the cosmic scrutiny upon them. In a small city in Ohio, a young scientist named Amira Chen stared at a monitor, frowning. Her lab was cluttered with gadgets and strange energy modules salvaged from old satellites. Something had caused a fluctuation. Small, imperceptible to most, but she noticed. The devices around her flickered as a faint hum filled the room. Amira's cat, perched on a pile of papers, twitched its ears nervously. "Not again," she muttered. She reached for her tools and adjusted the circuitry, her hands moving with instinct and precision. In mere minutes, the machine stabilized and the strange hum disappeared. What she did not know was that her small experiment had just countered a cosmic signal sent by the Krynian vessel. Across light years, sensors blinked in alarm. A single human, solving a simple technical problem, had disrupted alien technology. Back in the council chamber, a holographic projection displayed the readings from Earth. The members stared, incredulous as the numbers defied all expectation. The planet was unremarkable in appearance: water, land, atmosphere. Yet its inhabitants generated an energy pattern that bent probabilities in subtle ways. "This cannot be natural," whispered a soft voice from a corner. The speaker was a Viren scholar, a species that measured intelligence in fractal logic patterns. "If humans continue this, if they continue to adapt, the galaxy could face a force it cannot predict." Kryn's antennae twitched again. "It is already happening. We observed one human surviving conditions that should have killed them. Radiation, extreme heat, and starvation. And yet they survived, adapted, even improved. It is as if evolution itself favors them in real time." Another council member, the towering armored Gorthak, slammed a fist on the table. "Enough! We are not here to debate fairy tales. These humans are primitive, defenseless creatures. Let them remain in their corner. Leave them alone. But Kryn's tone grew sharper. You do not understand. Their defenses are not in weapons or armor. They are in creativity, unpredictability, and sheer willpower. We cannot quantify them, and that terrifies us. The council paused, each species digesting the word. Terrifying, repeated the Velari representative. How can beings so small, so seemingly weak, pose a threat to our empires? It is not size, Kryn said, his voice steady. It is potential. Unchecked, unmeasured, unpredictable. Humans are capable of solving any problem, adapting to any environment, and even using their emotional instincts in ways we cannot simulate. They are an anomaly. A hologram of Earth appeared in the chamber, spinning slowly in space. Oceans, forests, mountains, cities, all perfectly ordinary. And yet the energy field around it shimmered faintly, visible only through alien sensors. The council stared, some in fear, some in fascination. Across the galaxy, whispers began. Fleets diverted, research stations focused, and spies were sent, not to conquer but to study, understand, and predict humans. Every civilization, from the tiny microscopic beings on the planet Kryx to the massive energy entities of the Narthex void, began to realize the same thing. The human species was nothing like they expected. Meanwhile, humans continued their lives, unaware. In Ohio, Amira adjusted her devices and sighed. Just another late night, she muttered. She looked out the window at the stars, feeling a strange connection she could not explain. Somewhere deep in the cosmos, alien eyes were watching her, but she did not know, and perhaps it was better that way. As the council continued debating, Kryn knew the truth. The Galactic Atlas, which had mapped the known universe for millennia, ended at humans. Beyond them lay the unknown, a force that no intelligence had measured, controlled, or conquered. And for the first time, the council realized something chilling. Humans were not just another species. They were something else entirely. Somewhere on Earth, humans laughed, cried, built, and dreamed, and in doing so, they were unknowingly writing the beginning of a story that would terrify the galaxy. The first glimpses of humans from the alien scouts were almost laughable. Small, fragile creatures walking on two legs, relying on primitive machines. They had no fleets, no advanced weapons, and no shields that could block the simplest energy beam. And yet, as the Krynian scouts watched, humans began to do things that no intelligence in the galaxy could predict. In a laboratory tucked away in Europe, Amira Chen and her colleagues were working on a prototype communication device. It was meant to improve satellite signals, but what it did instead was something extraordinary. The device emitted a pulse that subtly interfered with alien sensors scanning the planet. Screens blinked and buzzed in alien observation stations. The Krynian team stared in disbelief. This is impossible, muttered one alien analyst. No organic life could produce such interference naturally. It is intentional. Back on Earth, Amira had no idea she was the cause. She adjusted wires, smiled at the hum of her device, and scribbled notes. Her intuition had guided her hands, telling her exactly where to connect circuits and where to insulate others. It was instinctive, not taught. Humans had an uncanny ability to adapt quickly, to solve problems they had never seen before. Elsewhere, in a desert in the United States, a group of teenagers explored a canyon. A sudden sandstorm trapped them far from civilization. Their emergency equipment failed. Their radio could not reach anyone. Yet they worked together, improvising with sticks, stones, and debris. By the next morning, they had created a makeshift shelter and a signaling fire system that somehow sent signals detectable from satellites. The alien observers documented everything in silence. The humans were small, unarmed, and fragile, but their minds, their cooperation, and their ingenuity were far beyond expectations. One Krynian officer whispered to another, "They survive not by strength but by creativity. They turn disasters into solutions before any threat can finish its work." In a coastal city, a storm caused a ship to run aground. Humans on the shore rushed to help. Without proper tools, they devised pulley systems, levers, and counterweights to free the vessel. Their methods were simple yet brilliantly effective, leaving alien observers baffled. The humans were also curiously unpredictable. Some acts seemed reckless. Children climbed cliffs with no ropes yet landed safely. Scientists experimented in ways that should have failed catastrophically, yet succeeded. Every failure became a lesson, every mistake a chance to improve. Across the galaxy, analysts tried to model humans using their most advanced algorithms. Every attempt failed. The species could not be contained by logic. Kryn reported to the Council once again. They are evolving faster than any measurable standard, not through technology alone, but through thought, intuition, and cooperation. Their unpredictability makes them dangerous. Meanwhile, humans began encountering fragments of alien technology. Crashed probes, forgotten satellites, even stray observation drones appeared in remote areas. People handled them casually. Engineers like Amira opened devices, tinkered with circuits, and learned to make them work. One teenager even repaired a drone by instinct, improving its sensors and extending its battery life far beyond the original design. This is not possible, Kryn muttered to himself. They do not even understand physics fully, and yet they manipulate it better than our experts. The humans' unique abilities were not limited to technology. They also displayed remarkable adaptation under pressure. When natural disaster struck, they coordinated in ways no other species could. Floods, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, humans survived them, often by combining logic, instinct, and teamwork. Across alien observation stations, scientists from hundreds of worlds analyzed the data, and all came to the same conclusion. Humans had a gift for survival that bordered on extraordinary. The Krynian scouts observed a particularly strange event in the Amazon jungle. A group of humans became trapped when a landslide blocked their path. Without tools, without external help, they worked together, lifting debris, clearing paths, and eventually escaping, all while protecting wildlife around them, showing compassion along with strategy. Alien analysts were stunned. "They do not just survive," said one. "They thrive even in conditions designed to destroy life. And they do it together without any central control." In small towns, children were learning complex patterns naturally. Farmers solved irrigation problems by observing subtle clues in the soil and weather. Teachers encouraged creativity over memorization. Across the planet, humans were honing an innate ability to adapt, improve, and innovate simultaneously. Kryn's reports to the Council painted a terrifying picture. Humans are not just evolving, they are rewriting the rules. Their minds are capable of solving problems in ways we cannot predict. Even their emotions, their desire to cooperate and help, enhance their survival. We cannot quantify them. The Council began to debate again. Some argued that humans should be contained or observed more closely. Others, particularly the older, wiser species, argued for caution. "We do not yet understand them," said a Viren scholar. "Intervention could be catastrophic. Their adaptability may allow them to turn even our best-laid plans against us." As this debate raged, humans continued their lives blissfully unaware. In Ohio, Amira adjusted her devices again, sending a small pulse into the atmosphere. She smiled at the patterns on her screen, oblivious to the fact that alien observers were taking detailed notes of her every move. On another continent, a young boy named Matteo discovered a strange device buried in a forest. He poked, prodded, and eventually managed to make it work. The drone whirred to life, responding to his commands. In the alien archive, analysts scratched their heads. He has no training, no experience, and yet he has mastered alien technology better than we could have taught our experts. Even on a larger scale, humans began forming alliances. Countries, tribes, and communities learned to cooperate in ways that defied previous records. Unlike most alien species, humans were unpredictable socially as well. Alliances shifted fluidly, but always in ways that produced stronger, more resilient networks. One human expedition sailed into uncharted waters, surviving storms that should have sunk their vessel. They discovered islands, solved problems of fresh water, and mapped terrain with precision. Back in observation stations, alien scientists stared in disbelief. They are not just surviving, they are exploring. They are learning faster than anyone thought possible, and the humans themselves hardly noticed. To them, it was everyday life, curiosity, and problem-solving. They were unaware that the galaxy was beginning to tremble at their potential. At the Krynian fleet, one officer finally voiced the concern that had haunted them all. They are fragile, weak, unarmed. Yet nothing we do seems to threaten them. They survive everything. Every plan we predict is turned upside down. I do not know how to classify this. Are they a threat, a species, or something else entirely? Kryn's antennae twitched. They are the unknown. Every intelligence we have cataloged has limits. Humans do not. They are unpredictable, adaptive, and resilient. And most of all, they are growing stronger with every encounter, every challenge. Across the galaxy, whispers began. Observe humans, said one. Do not underestimate them. Another voice, trembling, added, perhaps they are the species we should fear most. Meanwhile, humans still laughed, argued, created, and discovered. They were inventing solutions, saving lives, and exploring their world with the same curiosity they had always possessed. And yet every move, every action, every spark of ingenuity was being noted by alien eyes, slowly revealing a truth that would shake the galaxy to its core. As humans innovated, adapted, and survived, Kryn wrote his report to the Council. They are not like any other species we have known. Fragile in appearance, yet unstoppable in potential. Their creativity, their teamwork, and their resilience defy prediction. They are in every way beyond our understanding, and we fear what they will become. For the humans themselves, life continued as it always had. A young scientist tinkered in her lab. Children played in the forest, farmers adjusted their irrigation, and explorers sailed uncharted waters. To them, it was normal. To the galaxy, it was the beginning of an unstoppable force. And so, humanity's presence began to ripple across the cosmos. Not through war, not through fleets or weapons, but through ingenuity, adaptability, and determination. They were small, fragile, and seemingly insignificant. Yet their actions were already terrifying the most advanced civilizations. The Krynian officer leaned back, shaking his head. I do not know what they are. But I know this. They are not merely humans. They are something more. Something the galaxy is not ready for. The Galactic Council was silent for a long moment, staring at the projection of Earth that shimmered in the center of the chamber. Hundreds of civilizations had come together to catalog the known universe, to map stars, planets, and life itself. Yet here, at the very edge of the Milky Way, all their knowledge ended. And beyond that end lay humans, a species that terrified even the most advanced minds. Admiral Kryn's 6 limbs rested uneasily on the holographic console. Council members, he began. We have observed humans for decades, and yet we cannot predict them. They survive conditions that should have destroyed them, manipulate alien technology without training, and cooperate in ways that defy logic. Their very existence challenges everything we know about life, intelligence, and evolution. The Threxian delegate snorted. This is hyperbole. How can tiny, primitive creatures possibly threaten civilizations like ours? They do not threaten us by force, Kryn said. They threaten us by potential, by adaptability, by ingenuity, by evolution in real time. Across the chamber, the Viren scholar pulsed, a soft violet glow that indicated intense thought. We have analyzed the data, all of it. Humans are evolving not just physically, but cognitively, emotionally, and socially at an unprecedented rate. They use problem-solving that cannot be modeled, even by our most advanced simulations. The Gorthak delegate slammed a fist on the table. Enough with riddles! We are discussing a species that cannot even leave their homeworld. They have no fleets, no weapons capable of interstellar travel. This obsession is unnecessary. Kryn's antennae twitched sharply. Do you not understand? They are not ordinary. They cannot be contained, predicted, or conquered with our usual methods. Even their failures become lessons. Every disaster, every challenge they face strengthens them. We are witnessing a species that thrives under conditions that would destroy any other civilization. Meanwhile, humans themselves were unaware of the attention they had drawn. In the deserts of Australia, a team of engineers worked tirelessly to build a solar array capable of withstanding the harsh environment. They encountered problems that would have defeated any alien mind. Parts broke, circuits failed, storms destroyed equipment, but every time they adapted. They used local materials, improvised tools, and modified designs in ways that were remarkably effective. One young engineer, Liam Patel, looked at a broken panel and laughed. Well, that's not going to work. Let's try something else. Within hours, the panel was functioning more efficiently than before. It was simple human logic: observe, adapt, improve, repeat. Across alien observation stations, the analysts scratched their heads. How could a species with no prior experience improve technology faster than the inventors themselves expected? In Europe, another group of humans accidentally intercepted a transmission from an alien probe. Instead of panicking, they studied it. They learned its functions, mapped its systems, and eventually used it to improve communication in their own networks. These were ordinary humans performing extraordinary feats without realizing their impact on the galaxy. The Council grew increasingly uneasy. Every report Kryn brought forward revealed humans surpassing expectations, even without weapons, fleets, or formal technology. They were like a living, evolving force of nature, unpredictable, adaptive, and unstoppable in potential. A soft, quivering light pulsed in the corner of the chamber. The Viren scholar. It is not just technology. Humans have a way of manipulating reality itself subtly. Probability bends around them, circumstances align, and they succeed where logic predicts failure. We have never seen anything like it. What do you mean, manipulate reality? Demanded a Gorthak officer. Not consciously, the Viren replied. But their instincts, their creativity, and their emotional intelligence create outcomes that defy calculation. They adapt faster than evolution should allow. In essence, humans are unknowable. Back on Earth, a small group of children was exploring a canyon when a sudden rockfall trapped them. Without tools, they worked together to dig a path, prop up rocks, and signal for help using fire and reflections. Within hours, they had created a safe path and alerted local authorities. The aliens observing the event from orbit could only stare, stunned. They should be dead, whispered an observer. Every calculation says this group should have perished. And yet, they survive. They adapt. They overcome. Every time. The humans themselves laughed, called out to each other, and continued their exploration. To them, it was simply play, adventure, and teamwork. But to the galaxy, it was evidence of a species defying every rule of survival and intelligence. In the deserts of Africa, another human named Nia Okoye tested a water purification system she had invented. Severe storms destroyed her equipment multiple times, but Nia persisted, modifying designs using natural materials, and creating a system that worked better than any prototype she had tried before. Across alien observation networks, scientists began to whisper in fear. They are not just surviving, they are improving at an exponential rate, said one analyst. And they do it instinctively. Their social cooperation, their creativity, and their problem-solving are unmatched. The Council debated fiercely. Some wanted to send fleets to contain Earth, to quarantine humanity before it became a threat. Others argued that interference could provoke humans, making them even stronger. Every strategy proposed failed to account for human unpredictability. Containment is useless, Kryn said finally. They adapt faster than we can plan. And we have seen what happens when they are pushed. Every disaster strengthens them. They are like a force of nature, but conscious, intelligent, and evolving. Meanwhile, humans unknowingly continued to demonstrate their unique abilities on a global scale. In Japan, a team of engineers repaired a satellite damaged by solar flares. Without detailed instructions, they analyzed the systems, figured out the problems, and restored full functionality. Their improvisation surpassed what even alien engineers had considered possible. Across Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Americas, humans were resolving problems, surviving disasters, and improving technology, often without even realizing the alien eyes watching them. Each success, each adaptation, each innovation was terrifying the galaxy more and more. Kryn documented the observations carefully. Humans are not just unpredictable. They are resilient beyond comprehension. They learn from failure, create solutions intuitively, and cooperate instinctively. No species in the galaxy comes close. They are a new category of life. And it was not just practical intelligence. Humans were emotional, compassionate, and creative. Artists painted masterpieces that inspired entire generations. Musicians composed harmonies that resonated emotionally across cultures. Writers told stories that shaped thinking and imagination. Every creation, every idea added to the human strength. The Viren scholar, pulsing brighter now, stated what many feared. They are more than a species. They are an evolving system that learns, adapts, and overcomes at every level: physical, cognitive, emotional, and social. If left unchecked, humans will surpass every species in the galaxy. They are terrifying. Even the most skeptical delegates began to realize the truth. Humans were not just a primitive species. They were a force beyond prediction. Their creativity, problem-solving, teamwork, and resilience combined into something entirely new, something that could reshape the galaxy. And on Earth, humans continued their lives in ignorance of the cosmic stir they had caused. Children laughed, explorers ventured into unknown territories, Engineers tinkered and scientists experimented. They did what humans had always done: adapt, create, survive, and thrive. The Council knew that their attempts to intervene could backfire. Any action against humans could accelerate their development, teaching them faster, making them even more formidable. Yet inaction was also frightening. Humanity was a species the galaxy had never faced before. They could not be controlled, predicted, or destroyed. Kryn's final words in the session echoed through the chamber. Where the Galactic Atlas ends, humans begin. And what begins there terrifies us all. In the quiet of her lab, Amira Chen turned off her devices, smiled at the sunset, and whispered to herself, another day, another problem solved. She had no idea that her every action, every thought, every invention was being watched across the stars, and that she and her species had become the galaxy's greatest unknown. Somewhere, in distant systems, alien leaders whispered warnings to one another. Humans are not to be underestimated. They are not just survivors, they are the unimaginable. The first direct contact was unplanned. A human research vessel, traveling to study a distant asteroid, encountered an alien probe drifting silently in space. The probe belonged to a species known as the Valari, long considered one of the most advanced and analytical civilizations in the galaxy. The humans had no weapons, no shields, and no idea how to communicate with alien intelligence. Yet, as the probe attempted to scan them, the humans responded not with fear but with curiosity. Scientists like Amira Chen and her colleagues studied the probe, analyzing its sensors, communication signals, and energy patterns. Within hours, they understood the basics of its systems and managed to interface with it using their own technology. Back in the observation station, Kryn's eyes widened. They are communicating with the probe. Without prior knowledge, without instruction, they are adapting alien technology intuitively. The humans were not trying to conquer, nor were they trying to spy. They simply wanted to learn. They were driven by curiosity, problem-solving, and cooperation, qualities that had defined their species since the beginning. And as they interacted with the probe, something remarkable happened. The probe, designed to remain neutral and analytical, began to respond in ways that suggested adaptation. It was learning from the humans. On the Valari homeworld, scientists were astonished. Our probe has never been modified by a species it observes, one whispered. Yet the humans are improving it subtly, intuitively. They are teaching it without realizing it. Meanwhile, on Earth, the humans continued to explore the probe's systems. They learned its energy patterns, its propulsion, and its data storage. They were not perfect. Mistakes were made. But every mistake became a lesson that propelled them forward faster than any simulation predicted. As news of human ingenuity spread, alien species began to reconsider everything they had believed. The Krynian fleet, which had once observed humans with detached curiosity, now recognized a troubling reality. Humans were rapidly becoming capable of interstellar-level understanding, even without spacefaring technology. In the Amazon, another human team discovered a crashed alien drone from a distant civilization. Unlike the probe, this drone was defensive, designed to incapacitate intruders. The humans approached cautiously but did not panic. Using observation and creativity, they neutralized the drone without damage, studying its systems in the process. The analysts in alien stations whispered in shock. No species has ever handled an automated sentinel this way. Humans do not destroy, they adapt. They learn. They overcome. Humans' reputation grew across the galaxy, first in whispers and then in more serious reports. News of human ingenuity, resilience, and adaptability spread faster than any fleet could travel. Some civilizations feared them. Others sought to study them, hoping to understand the secrets behind their rapid problem-solving, creativity, and cooperation. A human-led expedition to the moon provided another startling example. Using nothing more than terrestrial tools and their own resourcefulness, humans repaired old satellites, constructed observation stations, and mapped lunar caves in record time. The aliens watching could not explain how humans achieved such results. Every calculation failed. Every plan humans made was outside predictable patterns. The Galactic Council reconvened urgently. Containment is impossible, Kryn reported. Every attempt to restrict them, every effort to predict their behavior fails. They are learning faster than we can simulate. They are cooperative, resilient, and unpredictable. The Gorthak delegate slammed a fist. This cannot continue. We are speaking of a species without fleets, weapons, or even interstellar travel. How can they threaten the galaxy? They threaten it in ways you do not yet comprehend, Kryn answered. Through intelligence, adaptability, and teamwork. Every disaster they face makes them stronger. Every encounter with alien technology makes them more capable. They are an unknown force, and it is growing. Humans themselves remained largely unaware of the magnitude of their actions. In Japan, engineers repaired communication satellites damaged by solar storms, improving efficiency beyond their original design. In Africa, volunteers devised water purification systems in deserts, making clean water accessible to entire communities. In South America, researchers adapted ancient irrigation techniques to survive new climate conditions. Every act of human problem-solving, cooperation, and adaptation sent ripples across the galaxy. Aliens recorded, analyzed, and debated, but no strategy could predict humanity's next move. Even when humans faced threats from extraterrestrial exploration probes, they adapted. In the Arctic, a human research team encountered a probe designed to operate in extreme cold. Using makeshift materials, heating systems, and careful observation, they neutralized and repurposed the probe to study their environment. Alien observers began to realize something terrifying. Humans did not just react, they improved themselves through each encounter. Failures became lessons, challenges became opportunities, and every interaction, even with superior technology, enhanced human capability. In the council chamber, the Viren scholar pulsed brightly. Humans are evolving not only physically but cognitively and socially. Their collaboration is instinctive. Their problem-solving is intuitive, and their resilience under pressure exceeds any species we have cataloged. They are unstoppable not through weapons but through intelligence and cooperation. The Galactic Council faced a dilemma. Any attempt to interfere could provoke humans, accelerating their development. Ignoring them was equally dangerous. Humanity's trajectory was unpredictable and uncontrollable. Meanwhile, humans continued their everyday lives, blissfully unaware. In Ohio, Amira tested a new energy converter in her lab, unknowingly sending out signals detectable across vast distances of space. In India, a team of students devised a makeshift weather monitoring device that exceeded the accuracy of alien sensors. In Canada, a group of explorers crossed a dangerous ice field using only natural tools and human ingenuity. Each of these actions, small and unremarkable on Earth, was monumental in the eyes of alien civilizations. Humans were not just surviving, they were thriving. And their growth was exponential. Kryn wrote his report with a sense of growing dread. Humans are unlike any species we have cataloged. Fragile in appearance, yet unstoppable in potential. They adapt, improve, and cooperate instinctively. Every encounter strengthens them. Every observation confirms that they are beyond our predictions. They are a force of evolution itself. Back on Earth, humans laughed, experimented, explored, and helped one another. They were still children, scientists, engineers, farmers, and explorers. They had no idea that their actions were rewriting the rules of the galaxy. Across distant star systems, alien leaders whispered warnings. Humans are the species we cannot predict. They are small, fragile, yet unstoppable in potential. They are beyond our control, and they grow stronger with every encounter. And in their labs, in their villages, in their cities, humans continued to do what they had always done best. Live, learn, adapt, and thrive. By the end of Part 4, the galaxy began to accept a new truth. Humans were not just a species, they were an unknown variable that could change everything. The Galactic Atlas, once the definitive guide to the universe, had reached its limit. Where the Atlas ends, humans begin. The humans themselves remained unaware, laughing, creating, solving, and exploring. But every action, every discovery, every act of ingenuity was moving them closer to becoming the most powerful species the galaxy had ever encountered, not through violence or conquest, but through the quiet, unstoppable force of intelligence, adaptability, and cooperation. The Galactic Council chamber had grown tense beyond measure. Every representative knew the reports. Humans were no longer a curiosity. They were an anomaly. Across the galaxy, humans were solving problems, adapting to challenges, and innovating in ways that no intelligence, no machine, and no species could predict. And yet, Earth itself remained unaware of the storm it had created. Admiral Crin's 6 limbs tapped nervously against the console. "Council members," he began, "we have reached a point we cannot ignore. Humans have adapted to every challenge we have observed. They have repurposed alien technology, survived conditions that would destroy any other life form, and improved themselves through each encounter. They are unstoppable." A whisper ran through the chamber. Even the most arrogant species could not deny the truth. Humans were small, fragile, and apparently defenseless, but their minds, adaptability, and cooperation made them the galaxy's greatest unknown. "They are still confined to one planet," the Gorthak delegate argued, pounding its fist. "How can we say they are unstoppable?" "They are not yet starfarers," Crin replied, antennae twitching. "But every interaction proves one thing. Humanity is evolving faster than we can predict. They learn from failure, improve under pressure, and create solutions no other species has even considered. Their potential is limitless." Meanwhile, on Earth, humans continued their lives in blissful ignorance of the cosmic attention they had drawn. Across the continents, ordinary people were performing extraordinary feats. In Africa, engineers solved water scarcity with new purification systems that used solar energy more efficiently than any prior design. In Europe, scientists interfaced with a satellite long abandoned, restoring its functions and enhancing its systems beyond original specifications. In South America, explorers used natural tools to traverse dangerous terrain, mapping regions that no one had charted before. In each instance, human creativity, adaptability, and teamwork were on full display. Alien observers recorded every action, yet could not understand the underlying cause. Humans did not rely solely on technology, brute force, or algorithms. They relied on intuition, experience, cooperation, and empathy. At the council, the Viren scholar pulsed brightly. "We cannot classify them as we do any other species. Humans are beyond normal metrics of intelligence or survival. They evolve socially, cognitively, and physically through experience itself. Every encounter strengthens them. Every challenge makes them better," Crin added. "Some of their achievements are subtle. They improvise solutions in moments of crisis. They turn mistakes into lessons. They collaborate instinctively. We cannot control them. We cannot predict them, and we cannot stop them." In the deserts of Australia, a human team discovered a crashed alien vessel. Designed to self-destruct when tampered with, the ship was considered too dangerous for any species to handle. Yet the humans approached carefully, studied its systems, and gradually disarmed its defenses. Within days, they had restored part of its communication array, learning from technology meant to be incomprehensible. Alien analysts watching the event were in shock. "They do not fight," whispered one Valari officer. "They do not conquer. They learn. They adapt. They grow stronger." Even in war simulations, humans defied expectations. In a controlled scenario where alien forces attempted to test human response, the humans adapted faster than any model predicted, using creativity and teamwork to turn near defeat into victory. The simulations ended not in loss, but in human success that defied all rules of strategy and probability. In Japan, a human scientist developed a clean energy system using only local materials. The system powered entire villages while improving efficiency beyond alien prototypes. In India, children built makeshift weather sensors that outperformed advanced alien instruments. Simply by observing patterns and applying creative logic, the Galactic Council, now deeply unsettled, debated openly. "Containment is impossible," said Crin. "Intervention may accelerate their development. Ignoring them may be catastrophic. Their trajectory is unpredictable, and yet every indication points to growth, rapid exponential growth." A murmur of agreement ran through the chamber. Even the most aggressive species recognized the truth. Humanity was beyond conventional control. They were not just another species. They were a force of potential that could reshape the galaxy. And then the first human interstellar mission took flight. Using newly developed propulsion technology, inspired by decades of experimentation and accidental discoveries, humans launched a small ship to the edges of the solar system. They were cautious, careful, and determined to explore, learn, and adapt. Alien observers watched in astonishment as the humans navigated unknown space with unerring instinct, avoiding dangers and finding innovative solutions to technical problems. They were traveling where no humans had gone before, yet they displayed adaptability, creativity, and cooperation at every turn. On Earth, the people celebrated quietly, unaware of the cosmic eyes upon them. Children played, engineers experimented, scientists observed, and communities thrived. Every human action contributed to the species' rising potential, a force invisible yet undeniable across the galaxy. The Galactic Council could no longer ignore the implications. Humans were not a threat in the conventional sense. They had no fleets, no weapons, no empire, but their ingenuity and resilience made them the most formidable species ever encountered. Any attempt to predict or control humanity was futile. Humans will shape the future, said the Viren scholar, its light pulsing steadily, not through aggression but through evolution itself. They are the species the galaxy cannot measure, cannot control, and cannot defeat. And then a subtle realization spread across the Council. The Galactic Atlas, the map of all known worlds, had reached its end at humanity. Beyond Earth, the unknown began. No star charts, no calculations, no strategies could predict what humans would do next. Meanwhile, on Earth, Amira Chen adjusted her experiments, smiling at the patterns she observed. Liam Patel in Australia tinkered with his solar arrays. Children in Africa explored rivers and forests. Explorers mapped distant mountains. Each of these ordinary acts was extraordinary in the cosmic scale. Each human action unknowingly reshaped the galaxy's understanding of life and potential. In distant star systems, alien leaders whispered warnings to one another. Do not underestimate humans. They are not what we expected. They are fragile, yet unstoppable in potential. They grow stronger with every challenge. Every interaction, every discovery. Back in the council chamber, Kryn summarized what everyone feared. Where the Galactic Atlas ends, humans begin. They are not just another species. They are an unknown variable that will change everything. We cannot control them, we cannot predict them, and we cannot stop them. And on Earth, humans laughed, created, explored, solved problems, and lived their lives. They had no idea of the cosmic tremors they had caused. They were small, fragile, ordinary beings in appearance, but in reality, they were the most extraordinary force the galaxy had ever encountered. As the first human interstellar ship disappeared into the stars, the Council could only watch. They whispered warnings to one another, debated futures they could not plan, and recorded data they could not interpret. The galaxy had discovered a new power, and it was unlike anything seen before.